Hey guys, Rimjaner here, bringing you another cast. This is going to be a Zerg vs Protoss on the map Korhal City. It's going to be a longer game. Most of my Zerg and Protoss games at least end up being 3 base games unless I'm early pressured and I lose. But when I do get 3 bases, my win rate is a lot better. I do a lot better, and in Heart of the Swarm, of course, because all the new Zerg units are later game units, of course you do want to play a 3 base or 4 base play. My new openings are um, the Swarm Host Corruptor build off 3 bases, and it's extremely strong. I don't think that it's actually OP or imbalanced, but it's basically because Protoss players don't really know what the counter is to it. And I've actually played a few games where I've told people what I was going, and they figured out the counter. And there are some actually pretty strong counters. Mass Zealot with Archons and Templars is actually one of the best counters against that. Basically, you would need Mass Roaches to actually defeat that, just because Zealots are actually pretty efficient against what's it against the Swarm Host Broodlings or whatever they're called. And of course, I'm gonna not let this guy build the pylon here. So as you see here, I'm clicking all over the map. We should check our APM. Looks like it went up pretty high there. I'm gonna take my natural here, build a queen, and then I don't know where he is yet, so I won't take my third quite so soon. Of course, you want to figure out what he's going before you take your third, or at least get your queen out, and possibly a second queen. You can start building. I do build my second queen right away usually. There we go. Once I scout him with these 2 Zerglings, you don't need to build more than 2. Unless he builds a pylon, you should build 4 just to take it out. Those slings are going to scout his base, and I'm going to see that he does have a forge right there. And that's basically going to tell you what he's doing. If you don't see a forge, you see Gateway Cybernetics card, then you can assume that he doesn't have an extra Nexus here. So I do have my third up. Around the 6-minute mark, I will take 2 gas, and at the 6-minute mark, it is really crucial that you do scout what's going on. My overlords did make it all the way around to over there. Make sure that probe doesn't do anything crazy, any funny business. I do have 3 queens out. My third hatchery is down. I do have both of my gases, and I will start mining them right away. If you do see a sentry, that's basically a sentry or Stargate. You will react differently, but this build is extremely strong against a sentry. Forge Fast Expand, Sentry, Immortal all in. Even if they take a 3rd base, it's still very strong because you can just take your 4th and 5th. And I really think this build has to be called dead. This is a Wings of Liberty build. It's very strong in Wings of Liberty, but basically the Swarm Host definitely nullifies the build, and I really want people to realize that. You can figure it out now, and I hope some Protoss players are watching it, because you will lose against this build. It's just much more efficient than the Sentry Swarm Host, or sorry, Sentry Immortal. Just not strong enough. He does have 6 sentries there. Here comes his Immortal. He does have a Twilight Council. You should pump out Darks or something just to screw up your timings, because Darks are cheaper now. So I don't know, it's a good idea, but when you do see this, you know you can drone up to 80, whatever, take your 4th base. Once you have a couple Swarm Hosts, you are pretty much secure, and you can take his 3rd, and you can get ahead. And you can check the income over here, actually. 62 over 58, so I am ahead in the workers. Actually, we're pretty even right now. But I am about to take my 4th, he's about to take his 3rd, and I will probably ninja a 5th over here somewhere. And my bases are pretty saturated. I always like to get 16 on each base. I got 17, 14. Doing pretty good. I have a bunch of Swarm Hosts out. Once you have about 4 or 5 Swarm Hosts, you do want to get your Spire, because you do need that. You do need those Corruptors to attack. If you're just going to defend, then you actually really don't need the Spire that quick. If you are being attacked, you don't need the Spire. Build the Spire when you do feel like you're going to attack yourself. Obviously, you do get the upgrade. Then during Locusts, on this map, it is a 4-player map. Make sure you do have all these extra bases covered, just because there's a lot of ninja nexuses that go around and You don't want that happening. When you do have swarm hosts, you do have to really protect your other bases. Build a lot of spines, just because the problem with swarm hosts is that you don't have mobility. You can't move them as fast. They are pretty slow, and they do take time to spawn their units. So make sure you remember that. Always have a lot of overseers. That's one thing you need, is a lot of overseers. We are going to slow the game down because we're on the 13-minute mark. Actually, I guess I can speed this up a little bit more for a little bit. But yes, make sure you upgrade your flyer attacks, and make sure you get some possibly carapace, and I never upgrade missile attacks just because your swarm hosts are really for tanking. Your locusts are really for tanking, not really for killing. You can use your zerglings and ultralists for killing, so that's why I upgrade these things, and I will get broodlords if you really need to. You obviously want to upgrade flyer attacks because, let's slow this down, just because there's a good chance that your opponent can go void rays and tempests and so on. So you do want to get out of here. Don't burrow right now, because especially when you're getting chased by blink stalkers, by the time they blink on top, they will kill all of your swarm hosts, and you will be dead. You might have to sacrifice bases like this sometimes, just because in this particular situation I am out of position. Do not lose all your corruptors to these Colossus. You do know that you haven't killed his observer yet, so find his observer first, and then worry about it. Because if you don't kill that observer, you will probably lose, because you are outnumbered army value wise. And here we go. I'm going to take out as many Colossus as I can, and I'm going to save my overseers and corruptors, and I should be able to take out this army, although he is going to be able to take out my fourth base here, which is not a big problem as long as I save my drones. As we see here, I'm going to save all my last one there. You can check our workers, last tab actually. He's killed 7, so that's okay. There's my fourth base, and it's all out of disposable income. And now I kind of want to box him in, and I know his army's trapped there. I don't want him to be able to get away. I'm going to lose one swarm host there. You can check our units lost tab and see who's really behind. He's less efficient than I am, even though I did do Zoe Bane, but he is about 1,000 ahead of me in units lost. I've lost more units, but obviously his are worth more than mine. And now my swarm hosts are in a good position again, so it's my turn to go on the offensive. You want about 10 to 15 swarm hosts. I'm going to move some guys to my 5th over here, which is kind of hiding. And of course you do want to build a lot of spine crawlers around that, because you will bank up a lot of extra minerals, as you see there. And I'm going to keep pushing ahead, and this is why you also want to make sure you keep upgrading your melee attacks. Don't forget to build your hive, because you do want to be able to transition to ultralisks or broodlords later. And of course, basically, one of the main things with your swarm hosts are being in good position. You want to be moving them all the time. Don't keep them in one spot, because when you are in one spot for too long, that's when you get into problems, and your opponents are able to kill you. This guy actually has basically the right idea. That is what you want to do. Blink stalkers are basically a hard counter to swarm hosts, but he does have to be more aggressive. He should be just pushing my base rather than trying to attack swarm hosts head on, and that's one thing I really want to stress, is never attack them head on. Just bypass them. There's no way I could get back to my base in time, and now I'm building a huge spine wall, so because I did see all these blink stalkers, so I'm not going to let him get in here. And eventually I will build more and more spine crawlers as the time goes on, and I'm going to just keep taking more map control. As you see here, I am boxing him in. He is going to build another nexus over here to take his 4th. Looks like he's only mining on basically 2 bases right now. And obviously don't leave your swarm host alone. He does have 3 armor there. I'm going to come in and just take out a Colossus if I can, because I am able to do that. And he is boxed in there. And I don't think he has any observers actually. I don't see any. Don't see any observers, which is kind of funny. Of course, you don't have to commit to any attacks, because you do have these locusts, and they do come in waves. So of course, you gotta know when you're supposed to attack, and this is when you gotta get out of here, kill as many Colossus as you can. You gotta definitely save your overseers, because once they are picked off, you are kind of screwed. And my locusts are back. Did take a bunch of units there. I'm still in good position, so I can come. We can check our production. I'm building more Lings and Corruptors, because like I said, Lings are going to kill Stalkers. If they go Zealot Archon, obviously you want to build Broodlords. And I'm going to build as many more Lings as I can. My 5th base is nicely saturated. And because I don't have very many Corruptors or Overseers, I'm going to retreat. I've done quite a bit of damage. He does have his 4th base up, I am aware of that. I should be spreading my creep, but I'm not. I retook my 4th, which is going to be my new 5th base. I do have, looks like I have an Ultralisk Cavern coming up, and a Greater Spire. I do have all these Spine Crawlers here. I am building an extra amount of Spine Crawlers over here. I'm going to repark my Swarm Hosts and send them off, and looks like he's going to push again. His units are 2-3. I am almost done 2-2. And his army is much larger than mine. This is kind of where positioning is going to come in handy. I do have that spine wall there, so I know I don't have to have my Swarm Host there. I do want to protect my 4th base, or my now 5th base, so I will place them in this position here. And looks like I do have 4 Ultralisks on the way, because that will be my new transition. Don't just build Ultralisks, because you do need more units than that. You do need some Lings to actually hold down these Stalkers, or you can use Infestors, whatever you want to do. Ultraling is actually always really nice. Obviously, you don't want to get caught with when the Locusts pop out. So I'm going to actually move some of my Spine Crawlers just to put them in a better position. He's going to check for my random 5th bases, and he's actually going to come up here and realize that, oh, look, he's got another base. Oh, look at that. I have another base. And he did not even realize, and he's probably going to be mad. But I do have my Zerglings over here. I'm going to reposition my Swarm Hosts. This is a bad composition just because your Ultralisks do get stuck behind your units like that, so you do have to make sure you engage properly. My Swarm Hosts are going to be parked down there. I do have a really nice spine wall up here, so I'm not worried if he does go up there. And obviously you have to have them in 2 control groups. As you can see here, I do have at least 2. Sometimes I have 3 or 4, depending on what I'm doing. I have my Swarm Hosts on another control group, and you do want to keep moving them in. You want to move them up depending on where they're going. You don't want to keep them in one spot for a long time, just because it's not how you want to. You don't want to be immobile like that. You're a Zerg player. You want to be as mobile as possible. Make sure you always replace your drones that you've made into Spine Crawlers with more drones. You do want to have the same amount all the time. If you build 9 Spine Crawlers, build 9 drones, because if you forget, you will run out of money later. You won't have the same income flow, and it happens to me some games, or actually I forget because I'm maxed out, and I build units instead of drones. So there's my 2nd Spire, just in case. Looks like I'm just getting all my upgrades. I do have a Hydralisk Den if I do ever want to transition, which is probably never going to happen. But Hydralisks are obviously very good against Stalkers. And as you see here, I am in pretty good position. I'm holding him off. I should move my Swarm Hosts. And I do have a lot of Ultralisks, so I'm holding him off in that direction as well. Don't really need as many Corruptors as I have. Again, don't get caught behind these. You want to let the Locust go first, and then you want to move. And I know that he's not really gonna press forward. It's really what he should have done. He should have base traded, but he didn't. And so I'm gonna box him in. This is where you really have to be aggressive as a Protoss player. You have to be as aggressive as possible when you're playing against Swarm Hosts. He should have just pushed me. He really can. His army is much stronger than mine. To our army value. Actually, never mind. My army is much more expensive than his. I guess he doesn't have any Colossus or anything, which is kind of useless for him. And he is boxed in here now, so I know I'm in a good position. My Swarm Hosts are hiding over here. My Ultralisks are super strong. do so much splash damage. And of course I'm just going to rebuild all my units and check what's coming up. I'm going to build some more Ultralisks. I got 7 more on the way, and I'm going to refill with Lings. I am at 200 again. Check the income tab actually. Yeah, pretty good. We both have a lot of units. You have 7 Ultralisks and a lot of Zerglings on the way. I'm at 200, and I'm just going to keep boxing him in. Like I said, he should be trading, building. You want to be building warp prisms and so on, and he does have a thing there, and I'm going to be able to kill that in time. So I'm going to keep myself maxed out. My Lings should be fully upgraded with the crack upgrade. They are extremely strong against this position, this composition. I'm going to keep moving my Stormhosts up, like I said. You go on average, just keep them in the same spot. And if you can, make them attack buildings and stuff, but... So he basically just blinked into my Ultralisk because he is kind of out of position if he goes this way. He's boxed in by my Stormhosts, or... He's going to be caught by my Ultralisk down here. Which are extremely strong. Stalkers do 17 damage. 17, so that means 12 damage on Ultralisks, or even less. 11 damage on Ultralisks, which is really nothing. 500, so it's like 45 shots, is it? Yeah, around 45 shots. I think, right? If my math is right. 45 times 11, go over 500. I do have Broodlords in, kind of just basically just for the cherry on top. You really should adjust. These guys are really strong. You have to base trade. That's my best advice against this build. This base trade, go for buildings, important buildings. You can do your little nexus thing, whatever it's called, your photon nexus. I don't know what it's called, but to help yourself defend. But build a lot of photon cannons everywhere. But you have to base trade. There's no way. You can never defend against this. Just efficiency-wise, even if you are able to defend against it, you will just be starved. I have played these games where I just starve people out. I'll end up building spores up here, and I don't even need corruptors. I'll just bring spores up, and I'll have the creep across the whole map, and basically I can just take over the whole map. And as you see here, all my bases are so strong. I can build another base here, 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 here. Looks like he was gonna hide one over there, but I'm all upgraded, and basically just base trade. It's the only way to. Right now, it's the best thing to do until Protoss players figure out a better build against this. All right, so I'm Rimjaner, guys.